Just like any other language, German language also has pronouns. But German being German, there are three cases for each pronoun in German language. So you will learn the pronouns first in nominative case, then you will learn the pronouns in accusative case, then you will learn the same pronouns in dative case. What is nominative case? What is accusative case? What is dative case? For now, just accept that depending on which verb is being used and where the pronoun is. So either the pronoun can be the subject of the sentence or it can be the object of a sentence. The subject of the sentence, then mostly it will be in nominative case. If the pronoun is one of the objects of the sentence, then if it is the direct object, it will be in accusative case. If it is the indirect object, it will be in dative case. For now, just accept that. Please keep yourself muted if you are not talking. So on the left side, you see the English pronouns I, you, singular, informal, meaning like you're talking to one person and you can be informal with them. Informal does not mean being impolite, just informal. We means, of course, we. Then you have he, she, it, and then you again have this one more time you, but this time you are being informal, but you are referring to more than one person, so plural. Then you have they, then again you have you, and this you is for you are being formal and you are referring to one person singular or more than one person plural. So let us start. In nominative case, you have ish meaning I, you have do meaning you, singular, informal. Let's say if I talk to Tamjid, I will use do for him. We, you have via. Then for he, you have er. She, you have z like New Zealand, that z of New Zealand. Then you have for it s, just like s, the alphabet s. For you, plural informal. Let's say if I talk to Tamjid and Rahman, both of them at the same time, instead of using do, I have to use ia. Okay, ia, not ear or not ear, ia. Ia, like just say ia. Yeah, ia. If I talk about more than one person in third party, like then for they, again you have z. Now you will say, really, she also have, for she you have z, and for they also you have z. Yes, that's how it is. Then what is the difference? The difference is not in the pronoun, the difference will be how the verb gets conjugated. So the spelling will change, the verb spelling will change. Then again you have you, and let's say if I want to be formal with Tamjid, let's say he is my boss or I'm meeting him for the first time, I cannot use do for him, I will have to use z. Again, what is the difference between this z and this z? When you speak, there is no difference, but on paper this z s has to be capital. Yeah, let's say if I talk to Tamjid and Rahman at the same time, and I have to be formal with them, and of course I'm talking to more than one person directly, again I have to use z. Yeah, so that's all the pronouns in nominative case: ich, du, wir, er, sie, es, ihr, sie, sie. In accusative case, ich will become mich, du will become dich, dich, wir will become uns, er will become ihn, sie will remain sie, es will remain es, ihr will become euch, sie will remain sie will remain sie. So when you go from nominative to accusative, sie does not change. When you go from accusative to dative, mich becomes mia, or you can say when you go from nominative to dative, ich becomes mia, but just know in dative case you have mia, dia, not mir, not miar, just mia. Just replace the alphabet R with alphabet A, mia, dia, uns, ihm, not in, ihm, ia, again ihm. So you say, okay, in dative case, for air and s, it's the same. Yeah, it's the same. Im. When you plural informal, you have euch. Again, euch remains euch. Then you have ihnen. I, here I is small, here I is capital. Question? Someone raised their hand. Okay, no question. So these are the pronouns. It's not that difficult to learn. Just 27 pronouns. You guys have memorized a lot more things when you're preparing for engineering exams. Let's talk about the definite articles. Definite article meaning the. What is the counterpart of the in German language? So you have der, die, das, die in nominative case. Accusative case, there becomes den, n, then, the remains the, thus remains thus, the remains the. Yeah, check. So when you go from nominative to accusative, only masculine changes. Feminine, neutrum, plural remain the same. You can apply the same logic over here as well. You have nominative case and you have accusative case. He is masculine, so er becomes in, but she feminine does not change. Z remains z, and this neutrum it, s remains s. When you go from nominative to accusative, you can apply the same logic over here. When you go from nominative to accusative, only masculine changes, feminine remains the same, neutrum remains the same, plural also remains the same. When you go to dative case, you have them for masculine and neutrum. You can also apply the logic over here. In dative case, for masculine he and neutrum it is im. Check, it's the same thing in dative. You can also apply the same logic over here. Masculine, neutrum, and dative are the same, them. Feminine is there. Check. Masculine nominative you have there, but feminine dative you have there. This is, just remember this. Plural becomes then. Yeah. And when you go to genitive case, masculine neutrum des, feminine plural there. Yeah. Any questions? You just have to remember these things. There is nothing to learn over here. These are definite articles, bestimmte article. Let's now look at unbestimmte article. So when you talk about indefinite article, you don't have plural case, right? You can say a sun, a star. You cannot say anything for stars, right? You don't have any indefinite article for plural things. So the same applies to German language. But nominative case, you have ein for masculine, eine for feminine, again ein for neutrum. When you go from nominative to accusative, as I said, only masculine changes. So ein becomes einen. Feminine, neutrum remain the same. When you go from accusative to dative, masculine and neutrum are the same. Einem, einem. Feminine is einer. If you are paying attention, notice here the endings kind of make sense, right? So feminine dative ends with er. Here also feminine dative ends with er. Here masculine dative, neutrum dative end with m. The sound of m. You have the sound of m over here as well. Notice. Masculine accusative, the sound of n is there. You also have the sound of n over here, einen. In genitive case, masculine neutrum is eines, eines. Check, the sound of s was here as well. Masculine genitive and neutrum genitive, they end with s, this. So this, you have that over here as well, s, eines. Mas- Feminine genitive einer or einer. You don't have to pronounce the alphabet r, but just when you're learning, pronounce it so that you remember it's einer. You have the ending er, right? You also have the same ending over here, feminine genitive er.
I'm sorry to interrupt you. Are you sharing your screen? Because I'm able to see only the first page pronomen and article.
Yeah, but like
This,
on the right side, you see these articles, right? These tables you see.
okay, okay,
Yeah,
okay.
that's what I'm talking.
Definition. I'm so sorry.
No problem, no
Yeah.
problem. Yeah. So these are this table is for definite articles. This table is for, I'm moving my arrow, I hope you can see it. So this is for indefinite articles. Then you have negations article, he is a programmer, he is the programmer, and you want to say he is no programmer. So for no also you have article. So you have kein, keiner, kein, keiner. If you are paying attention, if you look at this table, this for negations article, and if you look at the table for indefinite article, all you have to do is place the alphabet K and you get this table. So ein, kein, einer, keiner, ein, kein, einen, keinen, einer, keiner, ein, kein. Here einem, keinem, einer, keiner, einem, keinem. Here you check eines, einer, eines, eines, einer, eines. Here you have keines, keiner, keines. Yeah. If it is difficult for you to visualize, how this will come into picture, as I told you in the like just half an hour ago, every sentence will have a subject and it may have an object. That subject can be a pronoun or it can be a noun. If it is a noun, there can be an article as well. And which article you can use, that's what we are learning right now. It becomes better with examples, which we may look at later. Any questions so far? Okay. So we looked at the pronouns, we looked at the definite articles, the top table, then we looked at the Negations article, the middle table. Then we looked at the unbestimmte article or indefinite articles, the bottom table over here on the right side. Let us not talk about possessive article. Possessive article, you can say he is a programmer, he is the programmer, he is no programmer, he is my programmer, he is our programmer, he is your programmer, her programmer, his programmer, their programmer, stuff like that, right? So this is possessive articles. Now, if you want to say my, you have to say mine. If you want to say yours, and you can be informal and you are referring to one person, then thine. If you want to say ours, you have to say unser. If you want to say his, you have to say sein. If you want to say her, you have to say ihr. I know it's a little bit fast for you, but there's not much to learn over here. Please interrupt if you have any questions. For S, you have sein. For ia, if you want to say like yours, but I mean, like, when I say yours, I mean more than one person, so it will be oya. And for z, ia, z, ia, check here also, I is capital. Now, each of this will have their own table. For example, I can say, so when I say my programmer, if I mean programmer is masculine, then of course, then I have to decide whether the, like, how I am using the programmer, right? Is it masculine, feminine? I mean, programmer is masculine, so we will stick to this column. But then I have to decide in which case the noun is, whether it is nominative, accusative, dative, or genitive. So you have mine, mina, mine, mina. Accusative is meinen, mina, mine, mina. If you are paying some attention, you can get this table. So if you know this table, this negations article, just replace the alphabet K or the alphabet K with the alphabet M, and you get this table, right? If I ask you how do you get the table for thine, just replace the alphabet M with the alphabet D. If I ask you how do you get the table for unser, just replace mine with unser. If I ask you how do you get the table for sein, just replace mine with sein. If I ask you how do you get the table for ia, just replace mine with ia. It's not that difficult. Any question? Okay, anyone wants to read? Maybe it's for some practice. Yeah, this tree. Please read this table.
Okay. Unser, unsere, unsere, unseren, unsere, unserem, unserer, unseren, unseres, unseres. Dein, deiner, deinem, deines. Seinen, seine, seinen, seines. Your, ihren, ihres.
Okay. Only so this is it's just capital E or capital I. You have to be careful with oya because there is one spelling change. So I told you that if you want to get from the table for just replace sein with thine and you get the table, right? So you'll say if I want to get the table for oya, I will replace sein with oyer. But you have to be careful when you write this oya, the table for oya. So this e or a, you have to remove it from certain places. So it's not, so I show this, that you see this a, but I have grayed it out and I have made it kind of transparent. That means you don't write it. So when you write, it's not there. Yeah. So please read Rishti, I guess. Yeah.
Um, euer, eure, eure. Euren, eure, euer, eure. Eurem, eurer, eurem, euren, eures, eurer, eures.
Thank you very much, Rishti. So now this is again, if I mean, most of you may have done some coaching, right? So your teacher may not have taught you all of this at once. I could have done the same, but I think it's not. I mean, you guys, most of you are above 15 or 16, most of you have done a bachelor's degree, right? You can take something, all of this at once. I don't have to treat you like 5 years old, that I teach you something today and then teach you something more complicated after 1 week. This is, I'm just telling you, this is what, like, this is the part that people find difficult, remembering all the articles and so on. Just learn them, you know or you don't have to know all of them, like all of them at once. At least know all the nominative pronouns, okay? Then know this table, at least this definite articles, right? Because if you know definite articles, the others are kind of obvious. Then you may make mistake when it comes to over here, oyer, it's fine. Yeah. Also, don't, I mean, it's fine to make fun of German language, because it's, like that there are three, every noun can be categorized as masculine, feminine, neutrum. But I just told you, right? I gave you so many examples, and I spent at least 1 hour with you by going through the examples of, how you can figure it out, whether something is masculine, feminine, or neutrum. So please, I mean, you can make fun of it, but it's not that difficult if you really put in some practice. Yeah. Any questions? Okay. If there are no more questions, we can do the vocabulary practice now. Let me unshare, and then, or maybe I have it on here, over here. Anyone have any questions, please ask. If you're thinking what is the homework for today, the homework is always the same. Instead of taking homework from a stranger like me, just see which book the does the examination authority recommend. If you're preparing for the exam, get that book from a friend or buy